Hi Cancer, this is your forecast for the month of March 2017. This is a general reading for Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, or Cancer Moon. If you have a different rising or moon sign, you might find watching those videos helpful or more informative for you. Please remember that these are general readings, and so they may not apply to everyone. If you would like a reading that is specific to you, please visit my website at thealchemistastrologer.com. If you enjoyed February's love readings, then visit my Vimeo site by clicking the link in the description box. For the price of a latte, you can access the love reading for your sign, whether you're single, dating, or in a long-term relationship. All right, Cancer, so the first week you are very concerned with your finances and anything that will provide for you in the long term. There's, for some of you, some kind of transition taking place. Now, maybe this is connecting to family. This could be a family business, or maybe you're concerned about a parent or someone older. There could be family matters that are very important during this week. This could also be about big business or corporations or the government. But the focus is on financial security, wealth, property, major purchases, big business deals, investments. And some of you will be focused on financial matters like wills, inheritances, trusts, pensions, taxes. Anything that has to do with business, family tradition, money, and long-term future. So this is going to be a week where you feel like you need to take on more responsibility for your own situation, for other people, for situations. And again, you may be connecting with people to discuss that future, and it may involve something financial. So, you know, maybe you're dealing with bankers or government officials or, real estate agents or financial institutions, credit unions, anything that would tie into investments or financial security. Some of you, this is about the business deal. Maybe you're trying to make some deals. Maybe you're in negotiations, or you're trying to branch out in some way. For others of you, there's a concern for health. And maybe this is a parent or a loved one. Maybe it's even you, where there's some issues that have come up that have to be addressed. And maybe those ongoing medical issues become very important during this week. They require some kind of attention. Now, you are feeling responsible, and so this could be a week where you decide to step up to the plate and take on some financial responsibility that doesn't belong to you. Or this could be a week where, again, if you're seeking to get some money, maybe apply for a loan or some type of extension of credit, it could be that you don't get the best deal in that process. So this is a week to keep your eye on the finances. You may be, trying to push the boundaries in some way, or there could be something in connection to financial security where you need to try a different angle, a different vantage point. And again, maybe this is about some major purchase and you're trying to expand in some way, whether that's through property or a business deal, or maybe you're having to travel because of that. Now, the second week, you're frustrated about something. There's some kind of perhaps an ending or parting of ways, or something is causing you some mental anguish in some way. There's a sense of separation, rejection, or alienation. Now, maybe you were applying for a loan and maybe you got rejected. Or, maybe there's some type of separation happening due to issues within the family. Again, maybe there's an ongoing medical situation where surgery is a focus, perhaps even heart disease or something along those lines. Maybe you are dealing with the history of something, the history of a relationship where there's been emotional turmoil, pain, feelings that have been unreciprocated, unrequited, and so there's a sense of loneliness. Maybe some of you are having to cut some ties. Whatever happens this week, you are gaining a greater sense of awareness about where you are, what your situation is, what your connection is to another person, and you are making some changes. So whatever it is, it's causing a disturbance for you. And you may not be approaching it from a rational standpoint. And it could challenge your priorities, your schedule, your agenda in some way. Whatever it is, there's been a breakdown of some sort. There could have been a breakdown in negotiations, or again, maybe you're no longer communicating with someone. And whatever it is, you're having to gain some kind of, get a grip on reality because of it. Some of you anticipated this, whatever it was, you sort of had a feeling, and so you're not as surprised that it didn't work out. In fact, now you're just glad it came out in the open. You know, maybe there was some turmoil happening between you and another person. You knew that things were going to come to a head, and now you just feel like, okay, at least I know where I stand now. Or maybe there were some ongoing issues related to investments or property, and now you found out what that bottom line is going to be, and you're just, you've come to terms with, okay, this is what it is, and so now I'm going to have to come up with a plan of action. But for those of you who are, not prepared for what has happened, you're going to feel a great sense of disappointment, and this emotional situation is going to be very challenging to you. Maybe you were hoping for something, you were banking on that, you were waiting, and at the last minute there was some kind of cancellation. Something fell through. It could be, you were working against yourself in some way. Maybe there's been a history of frustration because you know that you're not putting your time, energy, and talent into something that is worthy of that effort. You're taking a shortcut. You're coming up with a scheme. You're trying to, make something happen quickly, and actually it's just a dead end. You're not living up to your potential in some way. So whatever's happening, the delay, the disappointment, the loss, it's because you just weren't using your talents the way you should have. Maybe you thought you had more skill, a greater chance than you actually did, or maybe you're overqualified, or you're just simply wasting your time when your talents would be better served somewhere else. But this is going to be a week of revelation. You're going to find some truth, some information that's going to give you a new perspective, some new awareness about yourself. And some of you may realize, given what's happening, you're going to have to go in a whole other direction. You're going to have to be innovative. You're going to have to think outside of the box. Now, the third week, you're dealing with Earth energy. This is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the energy of this king. This is about being, again, very security-minded, looking for some worldly success. So this could be a week where you're connecting with somebody to get some sound financial advice. Maybe you're trying to increase your income in some way, or maybe you're working hard for success, or again, you're focused on a real estate transaction or some large purchase of some sort. It could be issues related to management and trying to get up that corporate ladder, or whether you have enough money in the bank to feel protected. This is about putting in that persistent effort, being a conscientious worker in order to make something happen, something that would allow you to feel financially secure. So again, maybe you're coming in contact with somebody that is good at finance and they give you some advice, or maybe this is a provider or a protector of some sort, or just somebody who is loyal to you that gives you a sense of security. This could be a week where you're, again, if you were trying to think outside of the box, maybe you have come up with some new avenues that are going to provide you the security you seek. So maybe you're looking for recognition. Maybe you're getting some success. Maybe people are taking notice and you feel confident about where you're headed. But for others of you, if you haven't been applying your talents in the right arena, this could be a time where you need to appreciate self and what you have to offer. Now, the last week, you have a major card. So this is an important week for you. This is some milestone that you're reaching, and you're having to make a choice, and you're making an assessment about where you are. So it could be the end of something and the beginning of something else. Now, maybe you're changing your career, or maybe you're trying to end a situation. Maybe you're getting a promotion. Maybe you feel like you need to do something about your situation, but there's an evaluation taking place that may take you in a new direction, new job, new life, new opportunity. And again, maybe really looking at self and trying to improve or make some kind of appraisal about where you are. Maybe you're wiping the slate clean and starting over. Maybe you're seeking the judgment of this King of Pentacles, or maybe you're judging that King of Pentacles. Maybe you're judging new opportunities in front of you. Maybe you're judging a purchase that you've made or a direction that you followed. Now, for some of you, that Three of Swords may have represented a legal settlement of some sort. And so you may have contact with judges, lawyers, some type of person in the legal system with regard to a property, some issue that has been frustrating you, maybe something of long standing, something that has to do with a transaction, investment, real estate, or perhaps the history of your company, maybe your boss. So there's a judgment being made, and you are again reassessing where you are. You're looking at your situation to decide, should you continue to go forth with the path that you've been on? Is this course of action, is the behavior serving me? Is this the smartest thing to do? And you could be frustrated because you're readdressing some things that you thought were complete or finished or resolved that are now up for review again. So whatever it is, you're having to face making this decision. You're having to face new information, new facts, new developments. And this would tend to be something that you would rather avoid. But there is a call to action on your part. And so regardless of what you have now encountered, this could very well be a blessing in disguise. This could be the catalyst for you moving in a new direction, so that if you haven't been using your talents wisely, or you've made some decisions that were not so sound, you can move in another direction to keep you from making some bigger mistakes. So this is going to be a week about getting clear and, maybe getting some exoneration about something, or clearing the air that makes you feel better about your place in a situation. In fact, you may be able to turn it around. Something that seemed like it was about to fall off the cliff, maybe you are able to extend a lifeline somehow and turn things around. Maybe even turn it into a success. Whatever it is, you're going to have to be patient, because whatever you're involved in, obviously, it has some measure of seriousness to it and may be somewhat complicated. And so it's going to take you some time to work through it and resolve it. So this is going to be a week where getting real, working out those details, taking care of those loose ends, that's going to be the storyline for the week. And your patience is going to be required, because you're going to feel as if you're going back to the drawing board, or you're starting fresh, or you're having to readjust one more time. But ultimately, you're learning some things, and how quickly you pick up on that awareness will determine how quickly you move along in the process. This is not a week for you to procrastinate and put things off just because you wish you could avoid them, because that's going to create some repercussions for you. This is a week about making judgments, being judged by others, and you judging others. So it would serve you well to not let your emotions overtake you, to simply deal with the facts. So, allowing your emotions to take over could push you in the wrong direction. This is also a week where you can be highly critical of those around you, judging them, blaming them for their mistakes, and not accepting responsibility for your own input in a situation. This could be a focus this week on a judgment about how to free yourself from a situation. Maybe you want to break out of a routine, or maybe you're making a judgment about new areas of growth for yourself and feeling as if you can do anything, making something happen for yourself. For others of you, you are realizing that you want to be free, but to do that, you're going to have to let go of some things and move on. Now, the underlying energy is the Justice card. So again, another major card, and another implication that in some way you will be dealing with something that has some attachment to legalities, whether that's, documentation, contracts, legal authorities, judges, lawyers, whatever it may be, arbiters. This is going to be a month about making decisions and trying to make decisions where there's an element of fairness. That is front and center, the idea of something happening and that it will be fair for all that is involved. So again, legal affairs, trying to restore order and balance to a situation, having to be very prudent about the way money is managed, having to come up with a strategy, issues of accountability and integrity, and really taking time out to carefully consider the choices before you. It's very important to be rational, to deal with the facts, to carefully consider your choices, and keep a sense of proportion about what you're facing in order to make the right decision. Now, this may come down to settling some old debts, again, contracts, litigation, anything that would have a binding quality to it. So you're going to get some new information this month. And in the best of worlds, you're taking that in stride. You maintain a sense of perspective without allowing this new information or development to override everything else. So you're going to have to adjust to whatever it is that's happening. This could be unexpected, and maybe it's because you need to make some adjustments so that you can feel better about a situation, or maybe it's because you're trying to help someone else, or maybe it's because you've suffered some kind of loss and now you're having to regroup. This is also going to be a month that is demanding of you. Others will be looking at you, at your strong points, but also at your weaknesses. So you will have to make sure that you are on point, because other people are likely to be looking at you and your reputation and your performance. So this could be this need to restore a better balance in your life somehow, whether that's your health or your routine, whether you've been taking on too much work, too many responsibilities, whether you have not been doing so, whether you have not been putting in the effort. But the bottom line at the end of the day is whether it's fair and whether it's balanced. So this could be a month where you're having to make some changes, you're reorganizing, but in the end, you're going to gain a greater sense of security and peace of mind. But this is not without challenge. You're going to have to be patient. Some things you're going to have to work through to resolve. And so you may not be able to remove yourself from certain things as quickly as you hoped. And again, this is about not letting emotions get in the way and overwhelm us, about not taking offense, about not having a preconceived idea about how things should be. This is about fairness. And so this may involve taking a closer look at a situation, really digging deep, looking behind in order to discover the facts about something. Now, this is probably going to focus on, something that impacts your long-range goals and your destiny. And it may involve some type of exchange, some type of transaction, or simply, going back and forth to develop some idea or concept. You'll be weighing your options. There's an opportunity that's going to present, and you're looking for what is best for you. This may be a job opportunity. It may connect to your finances, but you're deciding whether you want to take that leap or remove yourself from a situation. And there's going to be a judgment about what's fair. Could be a legal judgment or just a decision being made. Now, there are no cups involved, so either whatever this is, there's a lack of perhaps empathy, there's a coldness to the situation, or there's a lack of emotion about it. So maybe you have gotten your emotions in check. It could just be that logic is what's most important in this situation, and that takes precedent over everything else. But there's also no fire in this reading, and so there's a thread that runs through it that concerns this lack of motivation, a lack of energy, a lack of will. Maybe that's because on some level you realize that your talents are not being served in the way that they could be. Whatever this is, this situation, you're going to feel as if you are suffocating, that it's confining, that it's stifling to you in some way. And so in many ways, you're trying to make a judgment about how you can break free from something. And it's going to connect to, this level of attachment you have toward a person, a situation, and how strongly you feel in that devotion, or how much that is becoming that attachment is becoming irrelevant to you. Your feelings are diminishing about something. All right, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I would greatly appreciate your support. I look forward to speaking with you next month.